Hey, what's up? It's Bond, and today we're going to talk about Microsoft, Xbox, and some of the rumors and news that are flying around right now. If you like video games, if you like Xbox, if you like any news or speculation and so on about video games, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you like this video, and comment down below with your thoughts, because I'm sure at least some of you will have some, both about the rumors and the news and my opinions on it. So, to jump into it, let's the thing that's coming out and going around is that it's kind of building off of previous rumors, is that multiple Xbox exclusive games are in the works to release on PlayStation, Nintendo, and so on. This has been rumored for a while, but the rumors were really going around the idea that it would be like a Hi-Fi Rush, it would be Sea of Thieves or Grounded, or some of the, I don't want to say lesser titles because Hi-Fi is one of the best games Xbox has released in years. But definitely the like lower tier brands, right? Not the Halos, now the Starfields, and so on. Well, the rumors that came around on Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon, were starting to make it seem like maybe it wasn't just going to be some of these kind of tier two titles. That there's talks that maybe the upcoming Indiana Jones game will eventually come out on PlayStation, that Starfield may get a release on PlayStation. So those are the main rumors right now. It's coming from enough sources at this point. I think it's impossible that it's completely false. I wouldn't be surprised if it's maybe being misconstrued. Maybe it's in the planning or concept phases. Maybe they're considering doing this and now it's being portrayed as a thing that's definitely happening. So maybe there's some misunderstanding there. People have to remember that even in just recent years, there's been rumors about a streaming console that we even saw a prototype of in Phil Spencer's background and some of his videos that he's done, and that never came to fruition. So just because things are being talked about, prototyped, rumored, doesn't mean they're going to happen, but they could. And I guess I want to talk about a few things. First, I want to talk about why this probably isn't as big of a deal as people are making it out to be. I expect it from the weirdo gamers, from the people with 5 followers on Twitter, or the Redditors, right? The Xbox dead, Xbox giving up. I regret buying my Xbox. I expect that silliness, especially because not all of it's going to be completely genuine. Like a lot of it's going to be like concern trolling and just kind of taking the piss, right? The issue I've seen is that I've seen some like quote unquote legitimate journalists kind of parroting some of this, some of that sentiment, and that sucks because they should know better. And it really does, like I made a tweet about, it does reinforce those like Xbox tax and those anti-Xbox kind of biases and stuff that everyone's always conspiring about. Well, you see journalists acting the way that they do, and doing some of the things they do and saying some of the things they say, people who generally are fairly well respected, and it makes you start to be like, damn, they are rooting for this to fail. Like that sucks. But when it comes to the actual failure, I think it's interesting. I don't want to sit here and be like, this is good for Xbox. Like, this is, you people don't know, because I don't know. The way I'm rationalizing it, and maybe it's with my own bias for Xbox, is that they won't stop making consoles just because they release games on other systems. They just may not plan on those consoles being their main revenue drivers. And here's the thing, I think that we're already there. I think we've been there since the Xbox One. I think after the 360, maybe they thought the Xbox One was going to be competitive sales wise, and then it wasn't. And then the One X was this really cool, really good hardware that, neither that or the PS4 Pro sold a ton, but they did okay. And I just don't think that Xbox expected to outsell PlayStation 5 this gen. Like, I don't think that anything they've done makes it seem that way. Because if they did, I think they do the things that PlayStation does. They wouldn't do day and day on the new games. They would force you to buy an Xbox if you want to play the new Halo and things like that. And then maybe in 3 or 4 years you'll get a crappy port of that to PC, and obviously you won't get it on other platforms. I I don't think that the way Sony does things is the way that Xbox is planning on doing things now or in the future. And I guess my biggest point about this situation is that Xbox, for all intents and purposes, and by many measures that people care about, is in third place out of the three big platforms, right? And so that's a factor. And then the other factor is they're owned by a company, they're a division of a company that could buy Nintendo and PlayStation a few times over, right? So when you consider those 2 points, you realize that one, because they're third, they need to make moves. They need to do something different. They can't do what Sony does. Sony is able to do what they do because they have a fairly small but very core set of games and trust from their community, where they can basically say, yeah, buy our console and play the games here, or wait forever, because we don't care. We want you to buy our consoles and we want you to buy 100 million of them, and people will, right? And because they want to play Spider-Man, they want to play The Last of Us, they want to play God of War. Xbox isn't doing that. And it seems like they can't. The big exclusive games they have come out are great. They have some great games, but none of them are pulling in the fandom and the draw of a God of War, a The Last of Us, and Spider-Man, right? And maybe they'll get there, but they aren't right now, and they haven't been so far. So then you have to start thinking to yourself, like, well, and I've been saying for a long time, I don't think they're trying to sell more consoles than PlayStation. I'm sure they would love to, but I think that that's not their goal, because they don't do things that make it seem like that's their goal. So if that's not their goal, then what is their goal? And my thought is Game Pass. That they're the main platform for Xbox these days is Xbox, or is Game Pass, where with Sony it's their console, with Nintendo it's Nintendo doing their own thing. Basically it's their first party games, it's their underpowered but loved hardware. And then you have Xbox, who for many years, and maybe even up to just a few years ago, was basically trying to do Sony but not as well. And then Game Pass came along. And something I've talked a lot about is how the three big platforms have been going different directions for a while. And what I'm starting to think is that the same way that for most people, when you compare the three big platforms, a lot of people don't compare Nintendo to PlayStation and Xbox, because they're doing their own thing. They aren't competing graphically, they aren't competing hardware wise. But then software wise, they might be kind of kicking their butts if you really think about it. And what I'm starting to notice and starting to think is that we very well may be moving towards a future where we look at all three of the companies kind of the way we look at Nintendo now, where we look at Nintendo the way we do. We look at PlayStation as like, they've got, the PlayStation 5 and they're super good exclusives. And if you want to play them there anytime soon, you gotta just buy that box and do that. And then there's Xbox over there doing the Game Pass thing. If you don't want to pay $2,000, $2,500 for a nice computer, you can pay $500 for whatever hardware they're selling. You can get Game Pass, you can do that. Or you can stream Game Pass, or you can do Game Pass on PC. And that kind of seems like the way it's going. I've seen people saying like, well, they're giving up all of any reason to buy an Xbox. Not really. I don't think so, at least. Because you still need an Xbox if you want Game Pass, and Game Pass is the best value in gaming. Even today it is. And sure, you can play Game Pass on PC, but it's, to get a PC that's worth buying, in my opinion, is at least $2,000. And a lot of people don't want to do that or can't. So the $500 or even $450 or $400 Series X is a really good value. You can stream it, sure, but very few people, at least today, want to stream their games as their primary way of playing, right? So just all of this sensationalism and kind of over dramatic reactions to this news to me is just really frustrating. I'm probably going to make more videos about it as we get like official confirmation or explanations. But I guess my final note in this rambling, whatever this was, is to just say that if you're an Xbox fan, don't freak out. It's going to be fine. Xbox isn't going anywhere. As far as I can tell, Xbox is doing exactly what Microsoft wants it to do for Microsoft. Again, Microsoft doesn't need Xbox to be the best platform or the most successful. It doesn't, because it has other stuff. And when I've seen people saying that Xbox is giving up, Microsoft is giving up on Xbox, they just spent $70 billion on an acquisition for more IP and more studios. Like, come on. It may be weird for them to put out some of their exclusives 6 months or a year after they come out onto other platforms, especially PlayStation, but they've got to do something different. They can't do what PlayStation does. They can't. It's not working. They've tried. And so now they're trying other stuff because they can afford to and because they have to. So that's kind of my final thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments about this whole situation. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. If you want more of this, I'm sure I'll talk more about it. Like the video if you did. I'm Bond Diesel all over the place. If you want to support me and my content and my podcast, become a member of the channel. I do release videos early to members, so you get a few hours early to be the first one to comment. And that's all I have for this one. So until next time.